Well, thank you, and good morning, and welcome to Kansas City to highlight something that I don't think people often expect to get from their local or state or federal governments. We're here to announce that we've kept our part of the bargain. In August of last year, we asked voters to approve a 1/2 cent sales tax to fund our Parks Department and help create a dedicated street maintenance fund for the first time in the city's history. The deal was that if that provision passed, we would reform our tax code in such a way as to offset some of the burdens on our residents on their property tax side. The impetus for that whole idea came from citizens and the Citizens Commission on Municipal Revenue. That tells me that some of the city's best ideas, come on up, Councilman Reed, best ideas actually come from the people who live in the city and who are impacted by local government. The end of the calendar year is drawing near, as we all know. Not only does that mean that you get to make your New Year's reservations and resolutions, but it also means that you need to get your property taxes paid. So this year's property tax bill is the first one that residents will receive and have received since the reforms were made to the tax code as a result of that August 2012 vote. After you write your check, I think that a lot of people, most people in this city will notice that there's a little bit more money left over than what was there before. And consider it a stocking stuffer from the city, if you will. And I also want you to consider it as a promise made by the city and a promise kept. It's not every year that we get to tell you the property taxes have decreased, but they have this year. And frankly, that's a big deal. It's also a big deal because the city of Kansas City has held up its end of the bargain and did what it said it was going to do. And I want all of our citizens to know that their government, represented by the council people standing here with me and the city manager standing here with me, the people in the finance department who work in this space every day, believed in keeping that promise and did everything to make it happen. It's also a way of being most efficient with the tax dollars that people give us and entrust to us. It's what trust is all about. And now I'd like to ask our city manager to talk a little bit about how these lower taxes work so that people will understand the benefit that they've received from the vote that they cast last August the 12th. And I'd like to thank everybody who did cast that vote and those who didn't. All the citizens of Kansas City and our region for their steadfast support of Kansas City, and say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Mayor, thank you. As you may all remember, back in the summer of 2012, when we put question 1 on the ballot, it was a little complicated to explain. But thanks to voter approval, it is now much easier to figure out property taxes in this city. Passage of question 1 eliminated the Parkway, Trafficway, and Boulevard property taxes. This resulted in a savings for both commercial and residential property owners in the city. This chart to my left shows how it affects residential property owners at 3 levels, and we provided a numerical example for each of the valuations suggested. If you take a look at the middle example, if you have a home valued at $100,000 and a car valued at $15,000, you are now paying $46 less in city property taxes each year. With the holiday season, that will buy one of the kids' video games. As a parent who's buying those, I know exactly what they cost. So aside from the savings to your wallet, making the tax structure less confusing is helping the city be more efficient. The treasurer's office used to spend a lot of time making sure a big bundle of different taxes were being calculated correctly. For the boulevard levy, they had to verify how many feet of frontage was part of each owner's property. City employees spent a lot of time working with residents to clear up confusion caused by having so many small levies. In addition to lowering the property tax, it's now just much easier to understand and administer by the city. So again, thank you to the voters who helped us restructure the city's tax code, and enjoy your savings, or in my case, they're already spent. So the mayor and I are now happy to take questions. We also have Tammy Queen and Randy Landis from our finance department here if you want more specific information or want to drill down a little deeper. Lynn, go ahead.
Not everybody lives on a boulevard. So are these figures that you've cited for people who live on a boulevard, or are these for every?
This does not include the boulevard. So If you had a standard 50-foot frontage on a boulevard, the additional tax savings would have been another $50 on top of this. So this is just the,
This affects everybody.
right,
And then
right.
people on a boulevard will see a little bit of extra.
Right,
property tax.
right.
Okay. And how is that affecting your budget? Did the half-cent about make up for the loss? of
With
property?
the half cent generated enough to offset the property tax relief and provide some additional money for street maintenance. It also provided a net $3 million additional resources to the Parks Department, which they put into operations this year. So it was a budget neutral from a property tax standpoint, and the overall tax savings got us an extra money for parks. We're able to do with the money just this year 305 lane miles of streets were resurfaced. 55 lane miles of streets had the cracks filled. 43 lane miles of streets were rejuvenated. That's basically a kind of a sealant on top of it. And 19 lane miles of streets were slurry sealed, another type of sealant, which again extends the life of the streets. So a significant reinvestment in streets as a result of question one, in addition to the park improvements and the property tax relief.
Okay, and just to be clear, while people are getting some property tax relief, they were paying a slightly higher sales tax.
Yes.
I mean, and I guess you have no idea how that balances out.
Now, it would depend a lot on the type of the property and how much they were selling. Obviously, commercial. This is based on a residential property. Commercial property owners would see significantly larger property tax relief. They may not, obviously, that may not translate into sales. They may not have a sales tax impact, so that would be net bottom line savings to them.